everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph. I will soon be joined by Andrew Wood and a special cast of characters tonight as we go live for a very, very special presentation of the Area 51 IndyCar Series. Not racing IndyCars tonight, though. Tonight it will be DW12s. It is the Jim Brooks Memorial 250 at Legacy Pocono. And do we have a dandy of a field? 29 cars currently signed in on the track, and we still have, look at that clock, 26 minutes left for the session. Some big names, some names that you will all know from IndyCar competition on the channel. Jim Herrick is here, so too Charles Teed, Larry Yingling, Hunter Smith, Guy L. Brooks, Craig Forsyth, Eric Peterson, Matty Wagner, Ryan Kelly. They've all joined in along with Area 51 luminaries like Charles Johnson, Koabi Brooks, Guy L. Brooks. They're all here to honor the legacy of a great man, Jim Brooks, one of the founders of this series. Jim is one of only 3 people to have competed the Around the World Challenge in Area 51. He raced on every track in the series, and we are proud to honor him tonight. We are going to be bringing up several of the drivers in the pre-race once we get through some of the pre-race festivities. To let you know the rules of the road here tonight, it is 100 laps, 250 miles. We're going to be running 80% fuel, and so what that means is that normally you would get 32, 33, 34 laps somewhere in that neighborhood around the Pocono Raceway. Tonight, 80% fuel means that we will be going about 25 or 26 laps. And so look out for a 3-stop race. That shouldn't be any trouble to make it in 3 stops. Look out for some exciting action. These cars do produce some incredible racing around here. And the other thing is, this is the legacy version of Pocono. It is the bumpy Pocono. It is the pavement that didn't get repaved until 2016. And so we're at the track in the configuration that open wheel racing actually left it. In terms of track records here, the outright track record owned by Ryan Briscoe in one of these cars, a Dallara DW12. He set that in the 2014 Pocono IndyCar 500, 40.9009 seconds. The stock car record here, held by Kyle Busch. The late Kyle Busch lapped this place at 51.298 in the 2017 Overton's 400. Many people don't know this, but there is a road course here at Pocono. There are several configurations of that, actually. Internally, the current road course, 2.5 miles, the track record held by Al Holbert in a Porsche 962, the 1985 Grand Prix at Pocono. There was also a longer 2.8-mile road course. Danny Ongaias and Vern Schuppen tied for the track record on that configuration. 1 minute 20.2 flat, one in a Lola T332C. The other, Vern Schuppen in an Eagle 755. That was in the 1976 Pocono Formula 5000 round. Formula 5000, of course, essentially a mashup between IndyCars and Formula 1 using 5-liter American V8s. There is a short road course here that was available until 1984. It measured 1.8 miles, and it also has a track record held by a Formula 5000 car, Epi Whitesis, in a Lola T330, 1973. With that, and as we wait for Andrew Wood to arrive, he has a business center. He had a business center, and so he is going to. He had a business center, so he's going to be running a little late. And while we wait on Andrew Wood, let's talk to Craig Forsyth. Craig Forsyth is the current admin of the Area 51 IndyCar Series. Craig, welcome to the booth. I don't get a chance to talk to you often enough here, but kind of talk to the people a little bit about what it is that we're doing here at Pocono tonight, my man.
Yeah, our good friend, one of the founders of the league, Jim Brooks, passed away. A a while back there, and it was a big loss to the Area 51 community. I mean, he was one of the backbone founding members. I always like to say is like back in, I think it was 2019 when I was a floundering official only racer. It was I'm pretty sure it was Jim that caught me in an official race and said like you should come race league races, and I joined Area 51, and I think it was him and Charles Johnson and a bunch of the other old timers back in that day, Gabe and James and Bud, and yeah, they invited me right in, and the whole little team of guys. It's a community that. It's a big loss, and his sons Gael and Kwabi. I mean, they're also in the league, and Gael's one of our broadcasters as well. And so yeah, we're just here at Pocono. One of the races that Jim won back in, I believe it was 2020, trounced everyone by almost 7 seconds, I think. And so yeah, we're here to do a memorial race in honor of him, and hope that everyone comes and supports the league.
Absolutely. Craig, you, my friends, do an awesome job in continuing the Area 51 story. You do a heck of a job as the admin. I know you've done a ton of work putting this race on. I'll let you get back with your team. Good luck tonight, Craig, and enjoy 250 miles at Pocono.
Thank you all. Stay safe.
Absolutely. That is Craig Forsyth. He is currently the admin for the Area 51 IndyCar Series. Craig Forsyth, one of the true gentlemen of open wheel racing in iRacing, and Area 51 could not have a better admin. We're joined by two more fine gentlemen, Kwabi Brooks, Gael Brooks, two of my favorite people. I had a long conversation with Gael the other night. Guys, I don't get a chance to talk to you two very much in the booth. But talk to us about this race and your dad and kind of what we're doing here tonight.
I'll let you start, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you again, Mark, for putting this on and running the show on it. I mean, it's just something that we've been doing with him for forever, back in the NASCAR 2003 days for those that played that game. And yeah, I mean, been sim racing to full extent since, I don't know, Kwabi, we're probably maybe even, I don't even know where we're 10 or not. We were literally doing long distance phone calls racing the original NASCAR racing on a Papyrus, which you do a long distance call through. It's called Hawaii, and so our mom would get mad at us for our long distance phone bills when we would be doing it, and he was just as guilty as us. And so just always been into racing, and the sim racing was kind of the natural follow through of it. And yeah, just I say, obviously never something we want to have to do, but it's a fun way to kind of same thing, just to kind of get everybody together and remember the fun stuff, and kind of just get all the guys together, and all that support. That's always been fun to have.
Absolutely. Kwabi, you let your brother talk. I've talked to him a lot. I don't think I've ever actually talked to you more than just in passing. So welcome to the booth. Usually it's the other side. Gael's asking me questions, usually about how I managed to land my car in the Sunoco sign. We'll tell that a different story for a different day. But what are your thoughts on this event tonight?
Yeah, it's nice that everyone got together to make this happen. It's, there's good, and we wish obviously it wasn't necessary, but he put a lot into this league, as did a lot of the guys here, and a lot of laps run here. So it's nice to see everyone come together. And like Gael said, we've been doing this off and on forever. So this, once he retired, he went all in. So my race setup for tonight is his old sim rig and computer. I've done nothing but plug it in and start running laps, and it's a motion rig. This track is really rough. I'm already sore from practice. I don't know how he was doing it. And one fun story is as he was getting a little weaker, Gael asked him, "Hey, we can turn off the motion or lower it." Nope. You want to keep running as is.
That does sound like Jim. I did not have the pleasure of racing against him. Gael knows the story though. The first person that sent me a message after I won my Area 51 championship was your dad. Before my teammates, before my friends, I got a message from Jim Brooks, and that was pretty cool. I didn't really know his significance then. Of course, I do now, but Gael knows that. I didn't know if you knew that, Kawabi, but I'm sure you're going to give your dad's rig a good ride tonight. Good luck, fellas, and we appreciate you. I appreciate you for sure.
I appreciate it, Mark. And actually, one thing I do want to grab before we jump over is obviously, like you have on the overlay, for kind of what we're doing this for is a really, really good friend of our families, my dad and my brother and I. His name is John, and so he is going through a very similar cancer battle. He's been going to the Mayo Clinic and all that, and so this is also part of it too. Is just try to raise awareness and all that, and try to help that family out too, because they've kind of been put in a raw deal where found out about it, and then kind of work was like, yeah, we're going to let you go. And so we know how expensive this kind of stuff is. So, and in kind of the last couple of weeks, he would always check in to see how John was doing. And yeah, basically say, hey, whatever we can do to help him, I want to do what we can. So, yeah, so that's a big also reason why we're doing what we are tonight, to just to honor him, but then also to try to help a great friend of ours.
Of course, and for anybody who's interested in helping out John and his family, there is a tag, or there is a pinned link in the chat. There is also a QR code in the event poster, which is going to be on the screen for the entirety tonight. So if anybody would like to, and surely we all should, help out your friends, do it, right? With that said, I'll let you guys get back to it. Although I think Kawabi might want a break.
Yeah,
I think he's enjoying not being bounced around right now.
I mean, did you make sure all your fillings were tightened in? Motion rig, bumpy Pocono? I don't know, brother. That might get kind of rough.
Yeah, I have one crown. I hope it stays in.
All right, I'm gonna get you guys back in the waiting room, and you can. I'm going to get you guys back in the waiting room, and you can go where you need to go from there. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you both, and keep going fast, having fun, and good luck.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. For our final honored guest here of the evening, we're going to bring up the current Area 51 head man, Charles Johnson. Charles, you've got Murph in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's another voice that I know and a name that I text with a lot, but I don't get a chance to talk to you very much. So, welcome to the P1 broadcasting booth. Thank you so much for having us put on this event. I know Gael seems to think that we're doing it, but in truth, it's really up to you guys to have us here to do this, and we do appreciate you. Talk a little bit about Jim. You raced against him for a very long time.
Yeah, Jim and Bud and myself and a couple others, we actually started Area 51, and I don't know how many years ago that was now. I'm going to say it was somewhere between 8 or 9 years ago. And we all became really good friends and good racing friends, and just love Jim to death. I mean, he a top-notch human being for sure, great American. But yeah, we ran with Jimmy Crow Sr. back in the day, and Jimmy Crow Sr. Come down sick, and after that, we kind of got together as a group and started Area 51. We came up with that name on our own, and we've been doing it ever since, and having fun, and met some really good drivers, made some really good friends, and it all started with Jim, myself, and Bud. So just something for all of us to be proud of, you know.
It's something I'm certainly proud of. There's alien stickers all over my rig. There's a bright green trophy sitting on my mantle from you guys, and
Yeah.
that's something that I will always cherish. My daughter keeps trying. I'll tell you a funny one. So when Jim Herrick gives out the trophies, they come on a base that's LED lit, and my daughter keeps wanting to light the trophies pink. and no, they need to be green, right? And so,
Yeah.
but definitely appreciate you guys. Jim, we're fond of saying, was one of the only people, if not the only person, ever to complete the Area 51 Around the World Challenge. So, for the people who don't know what that is, what does that mean?
I'm not sure what that means. Maybe you can explain that one.
So he raced on every track in each series throughout the thing, and there's only a handful of people, to my knowledge, that have ever done it. I certainly didn't.
That's awesome.
I certainly never did. I only ran a couple of seasons before Gary enticed me into the broadcast booth, and so I never did it, right? But he's one of the only, if not the only person that's ever raced every car in Area 51 on every track, and so great.
He's definitely an Iron Man, that's for sure. And I have a little story I'll tell you. So a few years back, Jim and Gael and Kyobe, Jim bought him a motion rig, and them boys helped set it up, and he sent me a video of it, and I nicknamed that thing the Shaky Wagon. So that kind of stuck throughout the Area 51 League, and all those guys still call it the Shaky Wagon.
It's funny you mentioned that, Charles, because Kyobe was just up here with his brother, and he said that he is racing in his dad's rig tonight, and it's bumpy Pocono, and so he said he's wore out from practice. I asked him, I said, now, Kyobe, you made sure you got all your fillings tightened down real good before you signed in, right? Because it's going to take, that motion rig will take a toll on him tonight. But
oh yeah, it's going to beat him up.
But all in good fun and all to honor a good man. And I definitely appreciate you coming to join us, Charles. I appreciate you having me here to do this. It's my honor to have that trophy and call myself part of Area 51's history, and I hope we'll be around for a lot longer time to come.
Yeah, we love having P1 on the broadcast for sure, and you guys do an awesome job, and we really appreciate what you do for Area 51.
We appreciate you too, Charles. Good luck tonight. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Okay, my friend.
Absolutely. That's Charles Johnson, and we'll let him go back to where he needs to be, and we'll bring in the man of the hour, the guy who really understands how to wheel a car around Pocono, Mr. Andrew Wood. Andrew, you've made it back from business dinners. We're counting down. We got 9 minutes left to go. We're all remembering and thinking about Jim, but there is business to be done, my man. Talk to me about running an IndyCar around the bumpy Pocono surface.
Yeah, Murph, it's good to be back. It seems like just yesterday we were commentating the regular series here, and it's really quite a wonder that all these drivers came out tonight to honor Jim Brooks. And yeah, it's a really great track to honor him at, this big, fast 2-mile oval here, 2.5 mile actually. Yeah, the bumpy Pocono is definitely one that a lot of drivers favor and can't wait to race time and time again. And I think that these DW12s tonight are really going to showcase just the speed and the intensity of just how fast these cars are. And we're doing it for a good cause, which is always great.
Yeah. So what are the differences? So we talk about the bumpy, right? Obviously, this version of Pocono in the sim has the road courses scanned, where the new version they didn't do that. But what are kind of some of the differences? You've won here on both surfaces. Talk to me about what it's like to race on the old one versus the new scan, aside from the fact that the new scan is smooth.
Yeah, well, the first thing that popped out to me is that tunnel turn 2. You could take a lot more of the inside curb there, and there's a little bit of a bump on where the tunnel actually is. And the car does get a little bit unsettled there, but it really launches you down towards turn 3, the final corner on the track, and you're able to really get a lot of good advantage there, which is something that you'll see these drivers doing tonight. The dirty air obviously is going to play a little bit of a factor, but that's the one thing that sticks out to me. But I think the other thing is that because the track is so worn, I guess you could say, just getting down into turn 3, there's multiple lines you could take. The outside line can be a lot quicker, especially as the tires start to wear out. So you can get a lot of good space on the track just by hanging it out on the outside. And hopefully no other drivers go up there in front of you, and perhaps you can pick up a couple spots and have a lot of speed going down into turn 1.
You know you can. This track is my goodness, Andrew. It is full of a bag of tricks. It is full of surprises. The thing about the DW12 that's so awesome about this particular place, funnily enough, for people who don't know, the old IndyCar does not really set up well on the new pavement. They never raced on it. So we don't have a way to dial this car into the new pavement. If you want to come to Pocono and race a DW12, it has to be on the legacy pavement. And it is, in the new car, on the new surface, we don't wear tires out. Matter of fact, it's not abnormal, to go through a run, Andrew, and you come in and pit in an IR18 32, 33 lap run. You come in the right front and the right rear at 97%. In these cars, on this surface, the tires are going to degrade. That's going to become a problem. The other thing that you're going to see is, and you kind of see it throughout these kind of scenic shots that we have, the front straightaway, the grandstands, there are about 45 different ways you can get through turn 3, and the front straight is what, 10, 11 lanes wide, something crazy?
That sounds about right. We actually we saw when the real IndyCar Series was at Pocono last, we saw a restart that had 7 wide come down the straightaway. So you could pretty much put your car anywhere you like, and especially just the wideness of the track. Any line or any entry point really could be beneficial, depending on where you enter from.
It could be, and then it all just turns into a funnel when you get to turn 1. The bottom, when the tires are cool, the bottom is going to be the place to be, but guys are going to start moving up toward the top as tires get hot, and you'll kind of see a conga line going around the top in turn 1, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a matter of trying to get through turn 1 at a decent speed and not lose so much speed going up towards the wall. So I think that definitely has something to do with it for sure.
It is, and then you go down the Long Pond straightaway, one of the longest back straightaways in all of motorsports. You get to turn 2. Turn 2 is a direct replica, for those who don't know, of a turn at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pocono's 3 turns are replicas of 3 different tracks. Turn 2, most famously, is Indianapolis. Turn 1 is Trenton Speedway, and turn 3 is modeled after the Milwaukee Mile. It's erroneously said sometimes that turn 1 is supposed to replicate Michigan. Michigan wasn't actually built until later, so it replicates Trenton, the long end of Trenton. And then turn 3 is Milwaukee, and when you get to turn 3, you take, with the Pocono downforce, you get to turn 3 at pretty much terminal velocity, and then everybody fans out, Andrew. Bottom, top, you'll see cars hanging the wall. You'll see guys hanging it on the hook right on the bottom, and it makes for some interesting. Exits off of that corner, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you try and dive it in on the inside, and you're losing all that speed coming back up to the high side again. It creates an opportunity where you lose a lot of speed on the exit, but if you're able to slide your way into an open gap there on the outside, there's an opportunity for you to get that draft again and just get all that speed back that you lost, and perhaps get a run going down and towards turn 1 again.
There is. We're going to show everybody a preview of Pocono by taking a look at Coabi Brooks. There he is. We're waiting on the paints to kind of re-download, reacquire. We're going to get on board with Coabi. There he is. And just kind of ride along a little bit, Andrew, and tell us what you see. He's in traffic. He's following, I believe, Gary Lovren there. Just kind of walk us through as he goes down the straightaway between turns 2 and 3 and through turn 3, what you're seeing.
Yeah, just you saw there was a little bit of a braking maneuver. The clean air availability probably wasn't there for him as well. But as you can see, he's making that run down into turn 1 next to Gary there. And can enter very shallow, which I was mentioning before in terms of going 7 wide down the straightaway if that were ever to happen here. And you can see that he has the run and the pass done on Gary. And now as he gets ready for turn 2, he's got to be looking in his mirrors to see if Gary's coming back. But like I was mentioning, you go right down to that curb there and you hit that bump. And if you hit it in the right way, you know that you did it properly. So turn 3 is probably going to be a middle. Yeah, taking the middle line here, feeding a little bit of that dirty air to the cars behind, which allows a little bit of a gap to happen there. And that's a lap around Pocono.
It is. You see the speed on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, 220 miles an hour without the draft. They are lifting in turns 1 and 3, and you mentioned braking in turn 3. Kawabe has another challenge tonight, and we're gonna pull out of his car just so you can see him run. He's got another challenge tonight. He is racing in his dad's motion rig, and he's got the motion on. I jokingly asked him, Andrew, if he had his fillings tightened up to get into this one, because he's going to be a tired guy by the time this race is over.
You know, I've never actually raced in one of those motion rigs before, but I could definitely tell that it's going to be a hard one if you're not used to it. So that'll be interesting to see where he is middle of the race or so, and if he's able to actually make his way forward or hang out in the front. But who knows? It could be a good omen as well, and perhaps it could be a little stroke of good luck.
You know, it could. Right now, Nicholas Stockner is the fastest man in Pocono, 41.036. Jim Herrick, who we're watching on the screen now in the final 20 seconds of practice, is second quick. Larry Yingling, who was second in the Area 51 IndyCar Series points, runs third. Former admin Matt Wagner is fourth, the proprietor of the Horizon IndyCar Series. And Charles Teed, always quick, is fifth. But the name that I'm watching as we head for qualifying, Andrew, Chris Stouffer, sixth quick in practice. That is a name that everybody needs to watch here tonight at Pocono.
Chris Stouffer definitely is one of those drivers who likes to go fast, and this is definitely a track where you go fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about him several times tonight.
It is a place where drivers like to go fast, and certainly Chris Stouffer does like to go fast. He is most certainly one of those guys. For qualifying, who do we want to ride on board with, Andrew?
Trying to find someone good for you here. Imagine Chris Stouffer is going to be leaving his pit stall very soon here, so perhaps we should give him a try.
Perhaps. I've got my eye on the telemetry for Chris Stouffer. Here's Jason Guralnik as he heads out onto the speedway. He's actually the first car out. Let's take a look at Bud Steele. I have a feeling Mr. Stouffer is perhaps acquiring the correct engine temperature in his DW12 before he heads out. So while we wait on Chris, how about Bud Steele? Now, Bud Steele, one of the founders of the Area 51 IndyCar, one of the founders of Area 51, we're going to take a ride on board with Bud as he heads down the backstretch toward turn 3. He runs that middle groove, and Andrew, he's on the loud pedal for his first lap in qualifying.
It's very important that you use all the track on the entry as best you can there to get the best arc into the corner, and he does so and gets right down to the bottom there. So as you're mentioning, there's no braking or lifting at this track, so I think that Bud Steele is definitely trying to put in the best lap he possibly can, and let's see how it goes for him.
It is traditionally, Andrew, the first lap here that is faster. We look out of Bud Steele's left eyeball. It is traditionally the first lap here that is quick, not the second. And so Bud Steele comes off of turn number 3. He's going to go down the front straightaway, pass under Barney. And his first lap good for 40. It's a 41.487. That is good, Andrew, for 5th quick, currently out of 7 cars. The track is getting busier. Stouffer has not yet made his way out onto the speedway. How about this car, Hunter Smith? Now, there's a name that you and I are both very familiar with. He's in a P1 livery, of course, the Little Eagle driver, most famously known for his exploits in the Elite Racing League. We've seen him in some top split action on the channel, but he's here tonight too.
And of course, whenever you place a P1 Broadcasting logo on your car, that gives you a couple extra tenths, as some other broadcasters like to say. So I'm hoping that Hunter Smith can rep the channel well, and he's setting up for a really good lap here, keeping it nice and tight to the wall, taking nice deep arcs into the corners, keep carrying all the speed possible. So I think this is shaping up to be a really good lap.
You know, it definitely may be, and of course, if a P1 logo was worth 2 tenths, that's probably why you beat me. I need some more stickers.
There's plenty to go around, Murph.
Hunter Smith comes through his first time, good enough for 9th quick. Let's have a look at Chris Stouffer, who is still on his inaugural tour of the Pocono Raceway. Got a lot of chrome on that 4D Racewear machine, number 13, through turn 2, screaming toward turn 3, Andrew. Where are we going to bet on where he's going to land here with this lap?
It's too close, really, between all these drivers. It's tough to really see where he's going to slot in, but probably in the top 5, I'd imagine.
First lap for Chris Stouffer in the books, 41.461. That's going to put him 23rd quick. I said it was the first lap that was quickest here. It has not been the case. It is the second, and old Stouffer is going to have to hustle. He's only going to have about 10 seconds left on the clock by the time he gets back. Hunter Smith goes to the provisional pole.
And those numbers are changing by the second here, Murph. We have a couple of drivers that have already unseated Hunter Smith. Stouffer comes through turn 3 right now. And, yeah, it looks like the second lap is the faster lap in this particular qualifying session.
It may be. Chris Stouffer is going to flash under Barney. The time, 41.230. That is going to put him on the inside of row 2. There are, by my count, 5 cars that have not qualified. 30 have signed in. 25 have taken time. 5 elected to not do so. And Andrew Wood, we got ourselves a starting field, my friend.
We got 30 cars on the grid. That's a really, really great turnout. It's going to be very, very busy for us commentators to call out who's moving up, who's having difficulty, and who seems to be on the best strategy. So I imagine we're going to see quite a lot of different strategies deployed right from the drop of the green flag.
It is, and it's one of those two where, you know, anytime you have a special event, it can be very difficult to get participation. I certainly know that from having run a special event myself. 30 cars is no joke. We had 30. We had just a few more than that in the P1 600, 33, I think. So great turnout on hand tonight, especially given that this is up against the top split broadcast on the other side. Gary Godso and his team, they're at what Gary likes to call lost wages tonight, Andrew.
Yes, and it's good to see a whole slew of drivers showing up to any IndyCar race that's happening. So we thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I think this is going to be a great one.
We do. On the pole, the 06 Matt Wagner, 218.796 miles an hour. He'll be flanked by the Votive Racing League machine of Gary Lovern. Wagner in the track rocket. Row 2, Eric Peterson for Dark Horse Racing. Chris Stouffer for 4D Racewear on his outside. Hunter Smith, Little Eagle Racing. He'll share row 3 with Ryan Kelly. And then it's Charles Teed, Larry Yingling, Craig Forsyth, and AJ Hobson rounding out your top 10. And look at how close those speeds are, Andrew. Just 0.3 of a mile an hour variation between the top 10. In 11th, Gabe Butler, then Bud Steele, Nicholas Stockner, Jason Guralnik, James Ledford, Justin Davis, Jim Herrick will start 17th. He'll be flanked in row number 9 by Joseph Morales. Hayden Davis and Charles Johnson will round out your top 20. 21st is Frank Irwin. Will Stearns, 22nd. Grandpa roll off in this one. 23rd, Brandon Briggs. Jack Wells, 24th. Bob Fitzgerald, 25th. And then we get into the cars that did not qualify. Tom Dixon, Kyle Brooks, Kawabe Brooks, Iker Piguero, and Dean Wilkinson are your field, Andrew.
Cars are now rolling, and we're just moments away from getting this race started, and it's going to be very, very exciting. Who's going to jump out of line first? Who's going to really chill out and save the fuel, save the tires, and any strategy really is possible here. And like you're mentioning, you could pit and save yourself from going a lap down the caution, so that's probably something else some drivers are considering as well, especially if things start to get a little spicy in the midfield.
You know, that's very true. You can pit here and not go a lap down, but you do lose the benefit of the draft, Andrew, if you do that. So you need to be kind of careful when you pit. You may want to pit with friends. I always like to pit with at least one other car here, just so that you don't have to worry about that. They do appear as though they are going to do the classic Area 51 start here, where maybe they lay off the pace car a little bit, although Matt Wagner and Gary Lovern do appear to be a lot closer than we've seen in some of the IndyCar races. But any final predictions here before we get going?
Yeah, it's very, very tough. We saw a lot of fast cars in practice, and they seem to be towards the front, but this race can turn on a dime, especially if people start doing all sorts of different strategies and everything. But one thing we didn't really talk about is the pit entry. So you were talking about pitting with friends. Got to make sure you get yourself woe down to the pit speed limit before entry, or there could be calamity. So we'll have to watch out for that as well. But I would say that the top 5 in the field right now are probably going to run with the most pace this race, but let's see how it goes.
We're going to see how it goes right now. Barney throws the green flag in the air. 30 Indy cars charge toward the flag stand, and we are underway in the Jim Brooks Memorial 250 from Pocono. And look at them fan out, Andrew. They're already 5 wide on the front straight.
They're definitely getting themselves any sort of room on the racetrack they possibly can. They're going to get themselves wound up nicely here. So the dirty air isn't really going to take big effect until we get to turn 3 on the first lap. There were 2x2 at the front, and looks like a lot of people are not willing to give up those spots right away.
No, they don't. Track position here at Pocono can be very difficult to come by. Matt Wagner bolts to the lead over Eric Peterson. You see Hunter Smith battling alongside Larry Yingling there. Chris Stouffer is now 4th, and he's going to lose a spot. That's Ryan Kelly headed to his outside, Andrew, as they head down the front stretch. Lap 1 is complete here at Pocono.
So a couple drivers get into the wall entering turn 3. Just a little bit of a brush, nothing really too concerning. I don't see any big damage. Hayden Davis right now came very, very close to contact with James Ledford there in turn 1 in the midfield. But everyone seems to be behaving themselves right now, and now everyone seems to be in a single file line at the front for the most part.
Yeah, they do, and they're going to want to get that way. I mentioned at the top of the show before you got here, it is 80% fuel here tonight. As you see, Eric Peterson, he always wants to lead, Andrew. He always wants to lead, and Matt Wagner got really loose coming off of turn 3. That's going to cost him at least 2 spots as Ryan Kelly and Gary Lovern go past, and now Wagner, he almost appears to be intentionally falling to the back now, Andrew.
We were talking a little bit about how rough the track is, especially on the tires. If you start sliding the car now, you're going to be screaming for new tires probably before the end of the run here. So that's something we're also going to have to watch out for, is who is using up their tires a lot more than others. And especially in the mid-pack here, there's a lot of drivers that seem to be struggling with their lines right now. So, that was very, very close. James Ledford and Hayden Davis again come very, very close to making contact in turn 2.
Here are the cars that Andrew's talking about. That's James Ledford leading Jack Walls and Hayden Davis. Walls and Davis very close coming off at turn 3. It's almost like the wall out there has a magnet, Andrew. It almost wants to reach out and grab you as we get back to lap number 5.
That wall definitely wants to grab you, Murph. It has happened to me several times racing in these cars, especially at these high-speed tracks. Sometimes you feel like you're driving straight, and the next thing you know, you're coming a little bit closer and closer and closer to that wall. So I'm not surprised that it's happening to these drivers here tonight, but the whole field seems to really be stuck together in the top 10 for the most part. We're starting to see some breakaway from the 11th all the way back. 12th all the way back.
Yeah, we're starting to see some breakaway. We're also seeing a car head for the pit lane. That's Jason, and I'm going to struggle with his name the whole night. It's Jason Guralnick. He's already made his way to the pit lane. They do have one fast repair here, but Guralnick already headed toward pit road just 5 laps in. The top 11 have broken away here. So Peterson, Lovern, Kelly, Stouffer, Wagner, your top 5. And Peterson now has an advantage over Lovern that's now almost half a second. Yingling, Smith, Forsyth, Teed, Hobson, and Stockner are your lead group. The front 11 are all right together. There's Nicholas Stockner. He's the final car in that lead draft. If you look back off of Stockner, the next car in line, that's Jim Herrick. Now, the thing about Jim Herrick, he's 1.8 seconds behind Nicholas Stockner. And, Andrew, that's out of the draft, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you could say the same about Eric Peterson, who's leading right now. He seems to be having quite a lead. The drivers 2nd through 4th here are battling quite a bit, and they're starting to lose Eric a little bit. So if Eric continues to just drive tidy, clean lines, he could start to lose the draft from any driver behind as well. And that's quite an advantage at a track like Pocono.
He could. Now you see Ryan Kelly has gotten past Gary Lovern, Chris Stouffer under fire from Matt Wagner. But Gary Lovern and Ryan Kelly are going to have to work together if they do not want Eric Peterson to escape them. And for Eric Peterson, he's got an advantage here because if you look out the front of Eric Peterson, there's a car up there. That's Jason Gralnick, who stopped, took his fast repair. He's come out just about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Peterson. Not in the draft envelope, but Andrew, if Peterson can get there, brother, he'd be walking in high cotton.
So far, so good for Peterson, regardless of the lap car up there or not. Oh, contact, Gary Lover. Oh, there's a car. I think it was Gary that touched the wall there.
Yeah, it was Gary Lovern. It was Gary Lovern that touched the wall. He has made for the pit lane. We're going to get a camera on him and see what's befallen the voter.
He and Stouffer had some contact at a turn 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Here we go. I don't know if they touched. If they did, it was very slight. Gary Lovern got in the wall, and it almost shot him down pit lane. And then to add insult to injury, Gary Lovern gets the black flag for speeding too fast exiting pit lane. So black flag, Gary Lovern. Now, traditionally, there are live admins here in Area 51. Traditionally, they have been known to waive that if you get forced down there. Jason Gralnick back toward pit lane. He also has a black flag. But they've been known to waive those, Andrew, if you get forced down there.
Yeah, it's definitely seemed like he was forced down there with that contact with the wall for sure. And don't look now, but Eric Peterson has managed to get Ryan Kelly all over him now. And now that it's a 2-car breakaway for the most part. And I believe Ryan Kelly's on a mission here.
It is. Ryan Kelly has now caught Eric Peterson. He's not trying to pass him, but he has caught him. And they had nearly broken the draft envelope to Chris Stouffer. The draft envelope in these cars, Andrew, as you mentioned before, is about 6 to 8 tenths of a second. Chris Stouffer was outside of that. He has since reeled that back in, so he is back within draft range. Larry Yingling is flirting with that behind Stouffer. But if Stouffer can join these two, they might be able to turn this into a 3-car breakaway. The one thing we're not seeing 10 laps into the scheduled 100 here, Andrew, is we're not seeing Ryan Kelly and Eric Peterson swap.
I find that kind of interesting, actually. I was just having that same thought, Murph, that they're not working together with the swap right now, but also at the same time, I think that the tires are starting to wear a little bit quicker than we thought. I don't even know if a swap draft would be effective or not. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if the setup that we have here tonight that these drivers are using is more focused on your driving ability, just because Eric Peterson should have been able to drive away from everyone because of the gap that he had. And maybe Ryan Kelly's just driving a little bit better right now to get right back up to him again, and definitely using more tire than he probably wants to. Stouffer is caught right up to the two of them now and starting to make the gap to fourth place even bigger. So I actually wonder if the car is just a little bit trickier to drive, and perhaps the driving ability is coming into play here.
It could. One of the things about the DW12 is it tends to wear corners a little bit quicker than the IR18. So where the tire wear on the current car tends to be a little bit more even for a given setup, this car you have to almost choose, Andrew, which corner you want to wear out. And it can get kind of dicey as we've got a battle for the lead.
Looks like Ryan Kelly's going for it. And as I was mentioning before, it's just not really enough tire life right now to do any sort of swap drafting situation, let alone really make a good pass for the lead. I think Kelly's going to keep trying for it. But we were talking in the pre-race about taking the higher line to get a little bit more speed. And I think that is exactly what we see happening right now, that the bottom is not very easy to pass. So I think that as the tires begin to wear and the drivers migrate up farther and farther on the track, it's going to be a lot more difficult to make those moves.
You know, it is what, and you see Chris Stouffer sweep past Ryan Kelly into the second spot. What happens is you get down there and the tires are old, they're hot, they get greasy. Stouffer wastes no time. He'll immediately file past Eric Peterson and into the lead. What happens is you get old tires, you get down there on the bottom, things start to get greasy, and you can get into the corner, you just cannot get off of it. Especially turn one, you start slip sliding up to the top, and if there's a car out there, you've got to back off. The other problem is the draft at the top will just pull everybody along right past you. That bottom line, especially in turn one, it can almost be like fool's gold, Andrew, as the front three now are all in the act. Ryan Kelly back to lead Stouffer second, Peterson third.
Just to piggyback on that for a second, Murph, the bottom does seem like fool's gold, but Charles Teed last lap was able to get underneath both Larry Yingling and I think that was Stockner that he got by as well. And then he managed to get by A.J. Hobson in turn three. So 3 positions in 1 lap for Charles Teed just by taking the bottom line there. And it was a send for sure. There was, if I had done that move, I definitely would not expect to come out of the other side alive. So there was no tactfulness in any way, shape, or form about that. And now Hobson and Teed are starting to pull away from that duo behind there that Charles was diving on the inside for, and they live to see another lap.
They do. Now, Jim Herrick and Larry Yingling, 10th and 11th back there, they have now caught this group being led by Charles Teed and A.J. Hobson. And I think Hobson and Teed are swapping. Those are friends. Those are teammates over there at the Dark Horse, out of the Dark Horse stables. I think that they're working together. They're trying to keep up with Hunter Smith, who is 6th. Then you see Smith there in the P1 Broadcasting livery Little Eagle. He's just about 0.6 of a second behind Craig Forsyth, Matt Wagner, and Wagner and Forsyth have now caught Eric Peterson, who is 3rd and losing ground to Ryan Kelly and Chris Stouffer at the front.
Well, I'm actually watching Eric Peterson's line the last couple laps, and yeah, he's definitely losing out on a lot of speed and momentum here, and I actually do think that has something to do with the fact that he did lead for so long. Peterson was out there in front, and those tires might be a little bit worse than the other drivers around him, and thus he's losing some positions, especially once he gets in that dirty air of cars behind. It's very difficult to maintain that. So he's gone from 1st to 4th. Wagner dropped from 1st to 7th in the first couple laps and maintained his tires. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wagner is going to try and make a run for the lead here. Yeah,
there he is. Matt Wagner runs long in 3rd. The Track Rocket doing a masterful job here this evening. He's got Next Level on the side of that machine. He's got it's a Penske livery, but that thing is very, very fast. Kind of looking a little bit further back in the field. There's Bud Steele. We talked about him. He was the first guy out in qualifying. Bud Steele having himself a pretty good day right now. He runs along in the 12th spot. He's kind of heading this little trio. There's Jack Walls and Joseph Morales, 13th and 14th behind him. Morales, of course, a regular in the Area 51 IndyCar Series. Jack Walls, one of the stock car regulars in Area 51. You get back to 15th. IndyCar fans will note Frank Irwin there. He runs in the 44. James Ledford, Charles Johnson swapping 16th and 17th. You've got Gabe Butler as a part of that. And 19th, chugging along in his dad's colors, it's Gael Brooks. He's 18th, and we've seen some pretty doggone good IndyCar runs out of Gael Brooks in the second half of the Area 51 IndyCar Series. I wouldn't count him out just yet, Andrew.
Well, part of that success that Gael Brooks was having was due to the fact that he always managed to go long, save the most amount of fuel, and be always the last car to pit in the cycle. So that sometimes pays off for you if you're the last car to pit and you're saying, you know what, I know I don't have the pace to battle and pass 15 cars. Let me just save the fuel and see if we can get something going for allowing a different strategy to get to the front, and that's paid off several races for him in the latter half of the season, like you're mentioning.
It has. A little bit further back, about 2.6 seconds to be exact, you'll find Brandon Briggs. Briggs is a regular on the stock car side here in Area 51. So too Justin Davis. He battles along with Bob Fitzgerald. There they are, 20th and 21st and 22nd. Clauby Brooks did not qualify, so he started in the back of this train. He's 23rd. He's in his dad's motion rig, but he's doing a heck of a job. He is Clauby Brooks last time through, just roughly about the same pace as his brother Gael, who runs 5 spots ahead of him. They've got Iker Pagero and Dean Wilkinson behind them. Remaining cars still running, Hayden Davis and Will Stearns. There they are. Well, there's Gary Lovern. Lovern is 1 lap down due to the penalty. Jack Walls has pulled into pit lane. Jason Guralnik is no longer. He's pulled his car out of the field. And I gotta say, when you see a cross race like this, right, with NASCAR guys and stock with NASCAR guys, IndyCar guys, you always see some great liveries. There's one on the screen, Andrew. It's Hayden Davis, and he is in one of my favorites. That is the Skull Bandit Dan Gurney Eagle scheme that they ran with Tom Sneva in the early 80s. How about that?
I'm locating it as we speak, Murph. I was looking at it before. Yeah, that's quite a that's quite. I love that color. That forest green kind of color there is definitely one that I might have to put in the back of my brain to perhaps paint a car similar to that in the future. I don't know if I'll ever give up the station wagon colors, but we can always dream a little bit. You
will not be allowed to give up the station wagon colors. You are forever going to be driving the Clark Griswold mobile in iRacing, Andrew. I'm sorry, brother.
I have to get a NASCAR car painted there and maybe take a shot at maybe the Area 51 NASCAR League at some point. It's always been something I've wanted to give a shot.
Wood paneled, of course, right?
Yes, got to get one painted wood panel. I believe Eric Peterson's going to be calling to the pits this lap, so 23 laps it is. And you mentioned we were at a smaller fuel tank, so typically we see around 29, 30 laps or so, but that makes sense. It looks like we're trying to get ahead of the curve a little bit, and if Eric Peterson comes out and there's a caution next lap, he will go right to the front. Not like he wasn't there already, but similar sort of feeling there.
Well, here's the problem for Eric Peterson. You see the number of laps complete, 24. If you're trying to make this in 3 stops, you need to make it at least to 25. We'll rejoin the battle for the lead. Matt Wagner leads Christopher, and Craig Forsyth has pulled himself up to 3rd. Hunter Smith is 4th. Ryan Kelly has dropped back to a distant 5th. He's almost a second behind the front 4 now. Matt Wagner will peel off into the pit lane, and so now it's Stouffer, Forsyth, and Smith, and we've got wholesale pit stops. Charles Teed is in, Stockner's in. Jim Herrick has pulled down the pit lane. Jack Walls has also stopped. Frank Irwin with a speeding ticket. Charles Johnson has made his way down pit road, and Will Stearns. And so we've Bud Steele, James Ledford is in, Bob Fitzgerald, Brandon Briggs. Lots of cars stopping.
Everyone's in, Murph. Everyone.
Well, but this extra lap really plays into the hands of these guys at the front, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And we're not surprised by any means that drivers like Stouffer and Forsyth are saving the fuel. Forsyth hustling his way in a little bit, almost like he wanted to try and give Stouffer a little bit of a pass there, but I think Stouffer blocked that quite nicely, and Forsyth just had to manage to get himself stopped right behind him. So they come down pit lane together with Hunter Smith as well.
Bud Steele, Bob Fitzgerald join Frank Irwin Jr. with speeding tickets, and this is going to be a story here, is speeding penalties on pit lane. We're going to get on the roll bar of Chris Stouffer as he heads away. Watch the speed for Stouffer. It's been a story with both the IR18 and the DW12. They reworked, iRacing did, some of the they reworked the pit limiter, Andrew, and it's triggered a lot of speeding tickets of recent. As you see everybody blend back out, Wagner leads it from now Peterson and Stouffer, and they have dropped Craig Forsyth. Forsyth did not have a good pit cycle. He's going to come out 4 seconds behind his teammate.
Yeah, in terms of speeding tickets, Murph, we're going to have to hear more from you, as I've not driven the car since our latest update here. So what exactly is the situation?
Okay.
Is it just a matter of pushing the button too late for the pit limiter, or what exactly is the situation?
So it's a software glitch. Essentially, with the limiter engaged, it's allowing overspeed, and when it allows the overspeed, with the limiter engaged, it will allow overspeed, and when that happens, it will give you a speeding penalty, and there's no way for you as the driver to control whether or not the limiter overspeeds. And so they're trying to correct it. There was a software update for the IR18 and the DW12 very recently, but you have to be very careful on pit lane. Some drivers are riding the brake as they go down pit road. Some drivers are choosing to not use the limiter at all and are just manually gauging their speed, but it's very difficult because it used to be that there were tricks and different tricks and different things that people did, Andrew, to
manipulate
the speed limiter, and iRacing very rightly tried to eliminate that. But the flip side is that that happened to me at Indianapolis in the Dark Horse finale. My pit limiter, I had the limiter engaged, and on pit exit, it allowed an overspeed, and I got a ticket.
It's all the more reason to be very, very careful with your pit speed limiter. You can't necessarily trust the technology, right? I think that's becoming more and more of a theme these days.
It isn't. You can trust the speed of Chris Stouffer, Matt Wagner, and Eric Peterson. They have pulled away into a leading front three. They've been rejoined by Hunter Smith and Ryan Kelly. The top five boast a 3.6 second advantage now over this next group, which is led by Jim Herrick. You've got Charles Teed, Craig Forsyth, and Nicholas Stockner in there. It appears as though Teed and Herrick are working together, trying to form the slingshot. I don't know. That's going to be tough duty, trying to catch Stouffer, Wagner, and Peterson, who appear to more or less also be working together.
Oof, I just watched Jim Herrick come very close to that turn 2 exit wall there, but gets away cleanly. I was hesitating to speak until I watched him get through there, but yeah, at this point, when you're this far behind, the best thing you could do is just protect your tires and hope that you can perhaps get a little bit more speed later on in the run to continue progressing forward. And one thing we should continue to watch is just what Eric Peterson's strategy is going to be now, especially we were talking before that he pit a lap before he needed to in order to make this a 3-stop run. So he'll have to run 26 laps on this stint. He seems to be not in a situation where he could save the fuel right now. So Eric Peterson might be in trouble on the strategy if he can't manage to do one stint with 26 laps to make up for that extra lap that he did not stay out for on that first stint.
Well, and that's possible, and we've got the lap since last pit up there. Everybody can do that math. 32 laps in the books. If you've got a 7 or less next to your name, you're in good shape. If you've got 8 or more, buddy, you might be in trouble on gas at the end of this deal. Jim Herrick has started to pull away from Charles Teed now, who is under fire from Craig Forsyth. And look, this second group, they need to work together here, Andrew, to continue to try to march forward because they've allowed the top 5 to escape, and there they are. And really, the top 2 have escaped from positions 3, 4, and 5 now. Wagner and Stouffer have broken away.
We were just talking in the first stint about perhaps maybe this is more of a driver setup, and we were watching drivers that seem to have pulled away quite a bit, and then maybe they roasted their tires a little bit more than expected and allowed some of the drivers that started to fall back a little bit to catch back up again. So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, Peterson pitted before everyone and he was dropping back in the last stint. Hunter Smith is looking to make his move now, and maybe if Hunter Smith can clear him, we can see if perhaps, as Ryan Kelly also squeezes by there in turn 2, if Hunter Smith is able to close back up. He's already seemed to come to maybe about 7 or 8 car lengths behind. So I think Hunter Smith's on the move right now.
He is. He's dropped it below. He's chopped that gap under a half a second. We ride on the nose of the Little Eagle P1 entry. Again, you'll see him a lot of times running the Elite Racing League stuff. He runs pretty much everything over there, but we've also seen him in Dark Horse races. Big slide from Chris Stouffer. Stouffer's going to be in trouble. Hunter Smith makes the move down the Long Pond straightaway, Andrew.
Yeah, it's almost like I called that possibly happening about a lap ago. So pat myself on the back for that one. Yeah, this is definitely a situation where the tires are wearing at different rates for everybody. And I think one little slip up, and you may think that you have a little bit of an advantage with the draft being far enough behind that the driver can't close in, but a little bit of good driving from some drivers behind, and you could find yourself right back into it again. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
You can. One of the things I wanted to mention, 35 laps out of 100 complete. We are already a third of the way home, Andrew, is there is a tremendous group that is watching this race. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. And you can help honor Jim Brooks' legacy. One of their good dear friends is also battling the same form of cancer as Jim's sons Kawabi and Gael mentioned in the pre-race. There's a GoFundMe link to help them out in the chat. You can also hit the QR code that's in the event poster listed at the top. And we're also, Andrew, gonna get to do this again, buddy. How about that?
Yes, we are, indeed, and it's going to be with a whole different cast of characters.
It is. So there's going to be a second Jim Brooks memorial. The first one, IndyCar race at Pocono. The second is going to be trucks at Talladega. I am just as excited, not only for to help out Jim and remembering him and his family and help out their friends and maybe raise a little bit of money. I am just as excited almost to hear Andrew Wood call a truck race at Talladega.
My goodness. Jesus, take the wheel there, literally.
I am going to need Andrew. I am going to need Andrew Wood. I almost think you should run it, and I'll bring in an interloper, just so you can say that you raced a truck, Talladega. I'll
just race the stock iRacing colors just for you, Murph.
You should actually, instead of that, what you should do, in honor of Gary Godso, is to honor the P1 founder, you should run a Kyle Larson livery. He loves to see those.
That's something we could definitely consider. I would love to call a truck race. There'd just be too much chaos and sensory overload for me to follow along.
There would. Matt Wagner continues to lead Chris Stouffer and Ryan Kelly. There is a lapped car up there that is Bud Steele. He got the speeding ticket earlier. He's on the tail end of one lap down. This front group is swelled to 5 cars now. Eric Peterson has caught them. Jim Herrick has left Craig Forsyth and Charles Teed. He runs along firmly ensconced in 6th. Pretty much by himself. Well, now maybe Craig Forsyth has caught him a little bit. But these front five are starting to do battle. Hunter Smith raced all the way up to the back of Stouffer and Wagner, and now Smith has gone back to fifth. Ryan Kelly started to surge forward along with Eric Peterson.
And you were talking about Jim Herrick. What a great job Jim Herrick is doing tonight. He's didn't probably get the qualifying run that he wanted, but he has managed to hang in there in the top five, or top six rather. It's all the way back from 17th position, and this is one of Jim Herrick's better runs in recent memory. So shout out to him for hanging in there and passing a lot of cars in the process, Murph.
Yeah, there he is. You see the serial on him. He started 17th. He's currently 6th. He races ahead of highly decorated teammate Craig Forsyth in the Forsyth Racing colors in 7th. Those two are teammates. They've got a lapped car in front of them. I'm trying to identify who that is.
That is Bud Steele. They've already put a lap on Iker Piguero a few laps ago, and now Bud Steele is the next car up ahead.
Well, no, I think that might be Iker in front of Herrick and Forsyth is what I meant to say.
Okay.
Is what I was getting at. Yes, it is Bud Steele in front of the leaders. Which you can tell from the multicolored, multi-hued IR18 as we get back to the leaders. This battle, it's only 5 cars strong, Andrew, but it is it's pretty furious. We've seen Wagner lead it. We've seen Peterson lead it. We've seen Kelly lead it. We've seen Stouffer lead it. Hunter Smith has driven up and attempted to lead it, and these 5 really don't seem to be able to get off of one another as we continue on here at Pocono, approaching the second round of pit stops. They'll be due in just about 9 laps time. Got to make it to lap 50, coming to get to 51. The drivers in the catbird seat for that, Stouffer, Smith, and Herrick. Matt Wagner stopped right on the number. Ryan Kelly stopped right on the number, and then Eric Peterson was a lap early. So Peterson needs to make a lap of fuel here, Andrew.
Yeah, the top 5, as you mentioned, they're very, very spicy battling. Typically with the IR18 cars, we see a lot of waiting in line and just waiting for your turn to do something. And with these tires wearing as fast as they do in this car, it has provided some really, really entertaining racing so far. So I think Hunter Smith in particular is just biding his time, and his time will come where he'll get to lead some laps more than likely.
You know, it very well may. I'm going to tell a story on you, Andrew, because you were in this race. Whether or not you choose to remember it. It was in the old race spot top split open days. So way back when, this is pre-dark times, pre-everything, and we were here. The race turned into a fuel mileage race. I was running, I don't know, probably back half of the top 10. And I decided that I didn't want to save fuel anymore. And so I pulled out and started to pass the field, knowing that I was going to be out of gas. But why not? You're on TV. Maybe, you can get some TV time, right? You got on the mic and said, "What are you doing?" And then Jacob Oster cut in and said, "Go, Murphy, go!" And I got to the lead, and they let me run out of gas.
Yeah, that actually does not seem to stick in my memory too well, but you've obviously got a sharper mind than I do here, Murph. So, wow, look at this 3 wide going into turn 3 right now. That lapped car has definitely spiced things up even more here. But yeah, it definitely. These races can easily turn to fuel saves, and someone who's not really, who you're not really familiar with, that comes in and starts to make a little bit of noise and slot themselves in, especially with cars that are saving fuel, can turn into a dangerous situation really, really fast.
Yeah, it can, and that's one of the things I was trying to avoid in that scenario was simply I did not want to get caught up in guys running around fourth gear riding the brakes, and so I thought it was safer to go out and lead. Now, obviously, that wasn't the ticket to win the race, but to be fair, right? You gotta kind of sometimes do what you gotta do, right?
Yes, and sometimes we see that at Indianapolis too, where drivers go maybe 15, 20 miles per hour slower to save that fuel towards the end of the race. And next thing you know, some drivers that are maybe 2 or 3 seconds back come up and start to really make some noise. And it does pay off in certain scenarios. So I think you did the right thing in that case in your mind, but unfortunately it just didn't pan out.
Well, and look, when it's a fuel-saving race, and certainly this is one of those that may turn into that, Andrew, you never know when the caution is going to fall and equalize things. That day, I certainly did not have the car to compete with the Brandon Trainos and Adam Blockers and Jacob Osters and Robert Maletskas that were in that field. So I knew I was gambling, right? But hey, you never know. Sometimes those gambles pay off. Right now, Christopher has gone to lead. He heads Wagner and Kelly. Hunter Smith is still a part of this party. Eric Peterson is still there too. Behind Peterson, though, Jim Herrick is not really making inroads. He's still a couple of tenths a lap off the pace of Eric Peterson in the 6th spot.
Yeah, that second group there, that Herrick and Forsyth, duo, I guess you might as well call it rather than a group. They've broken away from Charles Teed, and I think that's AJ Hobson that's with him, with Nicholas Stockner. So we have 3 groups right now. The group of 5 up front, the duo behind, and then that, I guess you can consider Larry Yingling to be part of that too. But pit stops can really shake things up, and hopefully Forsyth has a little bit better pit stop cycle this time around, and maybe he could find himself a little bit closer to that top 5 up ahead.
He can, riding along with Jim Herrick. You see him 48 of 100 complete, getting on the halfway. Charles Teed, Eric Peterson. Yeah, Charles Teed, Eric Peterson have dropped their cars onto the pit lane, so that tells me they are not making it. They're not going to make it, Andrew. In comes Jim Herrick. He will not make it either. Craig Forsyth will stay on the speedway. Matt Wagner has also dropped into the pit lane, and so that leaves Stouffer, Smith, and Kelly as your top 3 now. They've put a lap on the 84 of James Ledford. That is Bud Steele behind him. They are 2 laps down. Or excuse me, Steele is 2 laps down. Ledford 1 lap down. Now, Ledford just came out of the pits, so he'll get that back.
I find it interesting that Matt Wagner only was able to do, look, I imagine that's only 23 laps that time around. So the first stint was really heavy fuel save, and it's easy to do that when everyone's packed up for the first bunch of laps. You could really save a lot of fuel by lifting. So maybe the full burn is 23 laps, and it's really going to take a crafty right foot to try and get yourself to do 25 laps every stint. But Stouffer and that's what I was going to say. That's why that first run of 26 was so big for Stouffer, Smith, Forsyth, AJ Hobson, Guile Brooks, Larry Yingling. Well, Yingling on pit lane now. So is Gabe Butler. Here comes Stouffer and Smith. Is anyone going to go for one more? I've got a candidate for you, Andrew. Looks like it's going to be Craig.
Yeah, so Craig Forsyth will continue his 1 lap of fuel advantage. He is going to complete 51, and the more gas you can save now, brother, the less you got to save at the end. Craig Forsyth might be behind just a little bit. He's got some help from a lap car in front of him. This could be big. Guile Brooks has pitted. AJ Hobson comes in. So really now, Craig Forsyth is the only one that's going to make 26 laps on this second run.
And that's just very important to note also, because he didn't have a lot of help. He had Jim Herrick to save a little bit of fuel off of and the last go around, but that cutting out a pit stop, if he possibly could do it, would just erase any of that 5-second gap that he had in the leaders. He'll be almost a whole lap ahead of everyone.
He will. That'll rehand the lead to Chris Stouffer when he comes back around. Wagner second. Peterson third, Smith fourth, Ryan Kelly fifth, and the top 5 will reset. Craig Forsyth is coming off the pit lane now, but he is going to be well back of the leaders. He just got off of the pit lane. He might cycle out here, Andrew, something like 7 or 8 seconds behind the leaders.
We almost had our first caution there, Murph. Justin Davis just ping-ponged off the wall in turn 3, ping-ponged off a car and then the wall. It was very, very slow going down the front straightaway, but he continues on. But that easily could have been our first caution of the race there.
Yeah, there we saw it. Justin Davis really high, turn 3, smacks the wall, really slow down the front straightaway. Charles Teed takes evasive action. He gets it pointed back in the right direction, but he's right behind Craig Forsyth. And there's Forsyth. He came back out in the 8th spot. Forsyth, 6.7 seconds behind the leader. Now, the good news for Craig is he's got some help in front of him. You've got Charles Teed and then the lap car of Hayden Davis. So they're going to pull him along and pull him forward a little bit. Jim Herrick is 6th. There's Jim. And then we rejoin the battle for the top spots. Stouffer still leads Wagner. Peterson, Smith, and Kelly still in that train. The huge fuel advantage, though, goes to Chris Stouffer and Hunter Smith. They made 2 laps on Wagner and 3 on Peterson.
Yeah, that's start banking the fuel now, and then come later in the race, there's no need to save it anymore. And if you got drivers that are trying to save, you can easily just blow right by them, and they can't really do much if you're trying to be the lead foot and they're trying to be the fuel saver. So I think we're going to see some interesting bits here in the latter part of this race, especially after our next round of pit stops. What exactly are these drivers planning, and what do they have up their sleeve?
You know, it's going to be interesting for me as well to kind of think. You would think that the advantage here, as it comes down time to talk turkey, is going to go to the guys that are going to have more fuel. I never wanted to be the guy that had to save fuel at the end, especially on a super speedway. Stouffer big time loose off of turn number 1, and that lets Matt Wagner go by. It's going to let Hunter Smith draw alongside in turn 2. Chris Stouffer just about bought the farm, the cows, and the tractor coming off of turn 1, my man. That thing was big loose.
Yeah, and we're very, very early in the run as well, so that's not going to do any favors for Chris Stouffer's tire life. We were talking in the pre-race about how Stouffer likes to go fast. Well, that was a little bit too fast there, Murph.
You know, he does, and then if you're Hunter Smith, you've just gone by Stouffer, and these two have raced together, golly, in, how many big-time races, right? Hunter Smith goes for the lead on Matt Wagner. These two have raced together in how many big-time races? Do you get nervous when you see a guy get that bad out of shape in front of you? You go by him and know he's going to try to get under you in the next lap or two?
Yeah, it's definitely something that goes through everyone's mind. You definitely have a little bit of just got to give a little bit of extra room and just make sure that sorry, I'm watching Charles Johnson's off the track there. I think he might have had contact a little bit, but yeah, I think that's definitely something that you're always thinking about, especially when some drivers are a little bit hot on the trail, and then next thing you know,
we've got a yellow light. And it's going to be for Charles Johnson. He's got the meatball out there, and there you saw, big contact with.
I think that's Gabe Butler he made contact with. That's what I was looking at when I was trying to talk at the same time.
Yeah, there's the contact for Charles Johnson. Here's Gabe Butler. Now, Butler, we're going to ride on board with Butler, and then we'll kind of show.
My goodness, the caution was right in front of the leaders too, and we'll watch that as well, Murph.
Yeah, here we go. So you see Charles Johnson there, two drivers right. He and Gabe Butler are going to come together. There's the hit. Butler's going to kind of get lucky. He phases almost through. And then you said this could have been some big air. He breaks the front wing. Obviously, the floor is damaged. And then he's going to come back on the track. Gary Lovern gets through. And you said there's action in front of the leaders here as well?
With Charles Johnson, yes. We're looking at Butler still.
All right, so there's Charles Johnson. He's just trying to get back to pit lane. You know that there's a fast repair in this race, and so you're going to have a chance to use it. Charles Johnson has towed, so you're just trying to make it back to pit lane. Here come the leaders. Oh boy, he can't control it, Andrew. And around he goes. Oh my goodness. They all split him. Holy cow.
Hunter Smith better be counting his lucky stars tonight, Murph.
Let's see what Hunter Smith sees here. Watch this. Whee! He didn't miss him by any more than 6 inches all the way across the front left side and rear of that number 54, and Hunter Smith is going to get away with it. Everybody is going to head toward the pit lane with a couple. Well, no, everybody does come to pit lane. 59 of 100, and this eliminates the fuel games, Andrew. Hunter Smith wins the race off.
Yeah, I actually would have been interested to see if anybody decided to go for the track position and stay on track because, yeah, there are some drivers that were only doing 23 laps a stint, but the caution's going to save enough fuel for you anyway, and not enough fuel. You might still have to do a little bit of a fuel save, but it'll give you an opportunity to run up front, have us talk about you a bit, and if that were the case, why don't you just go for it, especially drivers that were in the middle part of the pack there. I believe the lapped car, we have several cars that are lapped down here. It doesn't seem that any of them stayed out to get their lap back, which is also curious to me.
Well, we should have a lucky dog, and so I would assume that you're going to see at least one car get their lap back. Gary Lovern, I believe, is going to have that honor. Dean Wilkinson has pulled his car into the pit lane and decided to call it a night. Gabe Butler is under significant repair, over a minute in his box. Justin Davis has retired. Bud Steele back on the track. He is going to be to the tail end of one lap down now, or he's going to be the tail end of one lap down. Lovern and Steele are ahead of the leader. Off peels Gary Lovern. So he is not going to take his lap back, but Bud Steele will. So Steele will get back to one lap down here at Pocono. Dean Wilkinson, again, retired his car. Justin Davis, Charles Johnson, Brandon Briggs, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Irwin, and Jason Guralnik are out of this one here at Pocono. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in, joining in the fun. We are working lap 60 under caution here at the Jim Brooks Memorial Pocono 250 for Area 51. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you visit the GoFundMe link in the broadcast description. We've pinned it in the chat. You can also scan the QR code in the event poster on your TV, and that is to benefit one of the Brooks family's good friends who is also battling the same kind of cancer that claimed Jim Brooks. Fabulous man. I told the story earlier, Andrew. You know who the first text message I got was after I won the Area 51 championship? It was Jim Brooks.
Yeah, it's what a stand-up guy he is. I didn't get a chance to talk too much about him, but when I first joined this league, I was always on track with Jim Brooks. For a period of time there, I was running up front in a lot of the races, but there were several races where Jim just had the car and he had the strategy, and he and I had several battles on the track that I remember very fondly. I can think of a couple off the top of my head right now. And yeah, it's a shame that his life has ended so soon, but all these guys out here tonight probably have their own fond memories of Jim Brooks.
You know they do, and I tell you who may also have some fond memories of Jim Brooks, Barney the flagman. He's going to wave the green flag. Did you see the picture that somebody posted at Michigan, by the way, in the IndyCar community Discord? Hunter Smith will lead him away. Did you see that picture? Somebody got their car. It was almost a Murphy-esque move, Andrew. They got their car stuck under the flag stand at Michigan with the nose cone pointed directly under Barney's feet.
Well, that's quite something there.
It takes skill to get your car into a position like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say there was a little contact on the start. I think Craig Forsyth has come over the radio and said that he was hit, might have some rear damage from Nicholas Stockner, who just kind of got wedged into the middle on the restart there. We always have these stack-ups, right? Forsyth's car looks to be okay. He's going full speed right now, so it may not be as bad as he may have originally thought, but look at that group there that Forsyth is stuck in the middle of. He's just boxed in completely.
He is. Here's the restart. We'll draw in on Craig Forsyth. He's got the 8th spot. There's Stockner behind him in 9th. There was contact. Watch this, Andrew. It's the same old concertina effect that we see at the starts and restarts of many of these races. Forsyth hits the loud button. Stop. There's Stockner damage on the front of the 124 machine for certain sure. I don't know about Craig, but that could have definitely hurt the diffuser on that 40 Raceware car, but he seems to be up to full song. To the inside of Jim Herrick he goes, trying to move himself into the 7th spot.
Yeah, and as we were watching the replay, I was watching Forsyth again, and he got hit once again from Jim Herrick, actually, when he got boxed in turn 1 on the last lap. He came around to turn 2, and Herrick tried to squeeze himself in there, and there was more contact, but much lighter than that contact on the restart. 3 wide, going down the back straightaway with Forsyth in the middle.
Yeah, and that damage, if there is any to the back, is not repairable. You do have a fast repairing area at 51, and so Craig Forsyth is going to be able to get that fixed when he makes his final stop. Of course, if you use it, you lose it, brother. It's always a gamble when you do use that fast repair, but if he's got diffuser damage, he's going to be able to stay in the draft, and he'll be able to get it fixed at his next stop. And really the window for that is going to open in about 12 laps, we think. 13 laps.
Yes, and we were talking before about how that caution has now thrown any sort of fuel save out the window. Everyone's going to be doing one more stop, and everyone should make it clear to the end. So no more fuel save, no more strategy. It's just go as fast as you can, pick up the spots, and be opportunistic when you can, and get to the front ASAP. And you don't have to worry about anyone in front of you.
Opportunistic. Matt Wagner slices to the bottom on Hunter Smith. He goes to the 2nd spot. Chris Stouffer has gone back to the lead. They've got Ryan Kelly, Charles Teed, and Eric Peterson with him. Those are your top 6. Craig Forsyth desperately trying to catch them and make it just about an 11-car battle for the lead. You've got Forsyth, Herrick, Stockner, Hobson, and Jack Walls has joined the back of that group. And how about Joseph Morales in 12th? We don't talk enough about Joseph Morales. There he is. He's having himself a fine and dandy evening, Andrew. He's got himself in the 12th spot, and he can see the lead group.
Joseph Morales having a Joseph Morales type race where just stay out of trouble. Maybe the pace isn't quite there, but if the right time comes, he always manages to squeeze himself into a higher spot than he thinks.
You know, that was one of the happier booths that I've been in. Joseph Morales got himself on the podium at a Horizon IndyCar Series race, and Andrew, you're a broadcaster. You're not supposed to cheer for anyone, except for you usually root against me, but that's a whole different story. I was genuinely cheering when Joseph Morales crossed the line in 3rd place and got to come to the booth. It was an awesome time.
Yes, I have to agree with you there, Murph.
Meanwhile, you can't take your eyes off the battle for the lead. Christopher, Matt Wagner, Hunter Smith have started to pull away ever so slightly. Wagner and his old buddy Stouffer there are swapping the lead, and they're bringing Hunter Smith with them. They've started to build a gap now on Ryan Kelly and Charles Teed ever so slightly.
Yeah, last lap Ryan Kelly was side by side for the lead, and he got completely squeezed out with dirty air, and Hunter Smith was able to take that spot, and Ryan Kelly lost a lot of momentum in that exchange there, so he's getting it back now, but it looked like for a minute there he's going to get swamped by even more cars. But Kelly seems to be hanging on quite nicely there in 4th place, and Charles Teed and his whole ilk of dark horse drivers behind him all hanging in quite nicely there as well.
They are. We're right on board with Hunter Smith, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about something that you and I say all the time. We've talked about dirty air, but watch what Hunter is doing. Essentially, when you're this car right here, you're trying to guess, Andrew, where the cars in front of you are going. If you guess right, you go forward. If you guess wrong, you lose a ton of momentum, and you have happened what happened to Ryan Kelly.
Yes, Murph, I am the king of guessing wrong all the time. So I know exactly. It's almost kind of like you were talking about me, as if I was on the track right now.
I guess wrong all the time, too. We've passed the 2/3 distance pole. We ride along board with Hunter Smith, lap 69 of 100 here in the Area 51 Jim Brooks Memorial. Want to thank everybody for tuning in, joining in. If you haven't already done it, hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, hit the GoFundMe link. You can help honor Jim Brooks by donating to one of their family friends who is fighting the same battle that ultimately claimed our good friend Jim. You can also scan the QR code in the event poster that's on your screen. It'd be great to help out John and their family. On board we roll. Hunter Smith is third rather, but he is about to have big trouble coming in the form of Ryan Kelly in that 4 spot, and slice into the bottom is Charles Teed, and Teed is not afraid. Teed all the way to the bottom, loses all of his momentum, just about runs into teammate Eric Peterson off the corner, and that allows Craig Forsyth to move from 7th to 5th.
One thing I want to watch this turn 3 coming up here from. Jim Herrick grabs the wall a little bit there, but if you want to talk about guessing, how do you guess this if you're Jim Herrick? It's every single car is blocking every single lane. Well, he actually seemed to guess quite well because he gets a lot of speed out of turn 3. But when you're sitting in that so I don't know, 7th, 8th, 9th position, as close as all these cars are, it's just turn and pray, basically. These drivers really they're trying to find the line that works best for them and where they feel the most comfortable. So it just is a good illustration of what you were talking about just a lap or so ago.
I'll tell you what I do. It's kind of mitigating risk. So you essentially, yes, and there's Herrick, and he just follows the low line this time. You can see the battle ahead of him, riding on board Jim Herrick in the 8th spot. You kind of know where the lead cars are going to go just based on knowing what the optimum racing line is, Andrew. And so for me, what I'll try to do is you can either have dirty air on entry or you can have dirty air on exit. So I will tend to select dirty air on entry, slow my car down, and then drive it in such a way that I get the exit of the corner with clean air. And that seems to stand me in pretty good stead sometimes.
Yeah, well, turn 3 is the problem now, but turn 1 is becoming even more of a problem because, as we've been talking about, everyone's migrating and trying to fight for that high line. Last lap, no one went to the bottom. Everyone's trying to take that high line. Let's see what happens this time for the 2nd through 7th place. So a few more cars go to the bottom, probably because last lap they all realized that no one was down there. So now it's just basically everyone's like, well, no one's going to go low. I'm going to go low. But every single car behind them has the same thought. So it is definitely a very interesting game that these drivers play with each other. Especially as the tires start to wear and that bottom line becomes less feasible.
Did you note that Ryan Kelly essentially did what I had just talked about in turn 1? He actually lifted in the center of the corner and stayed on the bottom at corner exit. He lost momentum through turn 3, and Wagner looking to make a move on Hunter Smith for 2nd, and all this jostling and battling has allowed Christopher to really, Andrew, pretty much escape the draft window.
Yes, Christopher, the guy that we talked about in the qualifying session, we did say that we were going to be mentioning his name quite a bit tonight, and we're doing just that now as he's leading quite handily as well. But one other thought that I was just coming up with, Murph, is when is the pit stop going to happen? Do we want to pit early and save ourselves from getting caught with the yellow, maybe lap 78, 79 or so? or is it run the tank all the way dry? What's the best way to do it at Pocono, especially when you don't lose a lap around here?
I think you are going to be watching the biggest game of IndyCar chicken that you can imagine. The first person who stops is going to trigger a land rush to pit road, because you are absolutely right, Andrew. As we watch Christopher, he's now 0.8 of a second. He's pulling away from everybody. Matt Wagner has gotten into second spot, and now Ryan Kelly looks at Hunter Smith for third. Whoever stops first is going to trigger a land rush onto pit road, because frankly, you do not want to be the first guy, or you do not want to be the last guy out there. I mean, certainly we've had, Andrew, we've certainly had a relatively incident-free race. Yeah, we've had some guys banging off the wall, but in truth, we've only really had one incident in this race. You can't bank on a caution, but you don't want to be caught out by it either.
Yeah, and a track like Pocono, similar to Indianapolis, everyone counts backwards, right, for the Indy 500, and this race is pretty much similar in that aspect. You could just be the first person to make the last stop, come out on the lead lap, and now you're done. And the counterpoint to what you're saying, though, is you want to have the best tires you possibly can and have at the end of the race. So not only is it a game of chicken, it's a game of trying to figure out, hey, can my car do 23, 24 laps on a set of tires and have me still be competitive towards the end? Or do I want to risk that strategy and come in later and make sure that my tires are clean as a whistle for the end of the race there? Now, in Chris Stouffer's case, it's astounding to me that he had that slide off of turn one there just a few laps after we went back green again, and he's managed to pull away so greatly there. So perhaps the tires really can do a lot more than we think they can. We've seen a lot of coming and going this race, but maybe that doesn't necessarily have to do with the tires, but just about how the drivers are maneuvering their cars during the race itself.
To illustrate how big of the gap Christopher has built, we are in the P1 airship. This is with the camera zoomed all the way out. Christopher is all by his lonesome, and that's what it looks like from the rear of the Christopher machine. 1.1 seconds, 1.2 seconds the gap. He has driven away from Wagner, Smith, Kelly, Forsyth in that next group. Those three have pulled a bit of distance as you see Bud Steele pull off a pit lane. Those four, Craig Forsyth has joined them, have pulled now about a second clear of the Dark Horse crew, led by Charles Teed, Eric Peterson in 6th and 7th, Nicholas Stockner 8th, Jim Herrick a fine 9th, and A.J. Hobson rounds out the top 10. Jack Walls has dropped about 2.5 seconds behind them. You see him at the top of the picture in that yellow machine. And let's focus in on Jack Walls, because Gael Brooks now sits in 12th.
We have our first taker.
Yeah, it's Jack Walls. He's going to bring the Pennzoil Panther into the pit lane, and Craig Forsyth.
Our second taker, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to be the second taker. Craig Forsyth is the first one on pit lane. He is going to pull it in, and now the game of chicken begins, Andrew.
Yes, everyone's thinking now, man, do I just stay out and have good tires at the end, or do I want to come in and save myself from the caution? And yeah, what you said is absolutely valid, Murph, that this race has gone mostly caution-free, so you have to start using statistics a little bit. These drivers are able, there's probably some names of drivers you look at and you're sizing up the grid saying, I'm not really sure if of some of these drivers that they can manage to hold on to the car. Now, we're probably going to have a lot of cautions here, but quite the contrary has happened in this race. So if the statistics are leaning more towards your side, I would venture to assume we're not going to have such a flurry of activity as you think. I think people are going to trickle in little by little as the race goes on and pick their strategy from there.
Teed and Hobson have come to pit lane. Craig Forsyth, for the record, did take his fast repair on that pit stop, so he did have floor damage with 80, and that may have been why he pitted. So Teed, Hobson, Craig Forsyth, Jack Walls, Joseph Morales, James Ledford have all come into the pit lane. Matt Wagner, Ryan Kelly now going to come in, And that's going to leave really Hunter Smith all by his lonesome, trying to chase down Chris Stouffer. And now if you're Smith, he's going to be at risk a little bit just because he doesn't have anybody to draft with.
Yeah, I was watching Ryan Kelly come in. I don't know how he got that car stopped in time, but he managed to avoid the speeding ticket, Murph. It was very, very close, though.
The Pennsylvania State Troopers must be a little bit more lenient than Indiana ones. How's that?
Well, he didn't get Wags on the way in, but he got him on the way out. What a great stop that was for Ryan Kelly. He picked up a spot and commandingly so. Forsythe's going to come back around. But this is really going to make things very, very interesting for the drivers that pitted, how much they can work together and get themselves maybe a little bit more pace than we're thinking about might come from Stouffer.
It is. Craig Forsythe is your provisional leader. There he is, lead car that has stopped. He is about half a second ahead of Ryan Kelly as they begin to snake. Hunter Smith still has not stopped. And there's Hunter, 83 of 100 in the books, coming to get 184. Hunter Smith does not stop. And he is now at the point where he's 25 laps out. He needs to stop. Even with that caution flag, they've been running full goose here, Andrew. He's got to be just about at the end of his rope. Hayden Davis will be the first one to get the ticket coming to pit road for his stop. Exiting pit road for his stop, and that's where it gets you in this car. It's not coming into the pits; it's leaving. You want to be really careful. But is this Hunter Smith? Is this the winning strategy, or is it all going to go up in smoke? We're going to figure that out.
He's coming in.
Yeah, here goes Hunter Smith. Let's get on the roll bar. We'll get the telemetry up for Smith as he pulls in hard on the brakes. Got to get down to 60, and there it is. All right, so we'll do the whole thing. We'll ride on board. He's trusting the limiter on entry. Jim Herrick too fast entering. Nicholas Stockner goes another lap, but all eyes on Hunter Smith. Your leader is stopping for what would be final service. 16 laps to go. Rev it up. Now let's see if it goes over 60 as he exits. Good work from Hunter Smith. But what's not good for Hunter Smith, Craig Forsythe, Matt Wagner, Chris Stouffer, and Ryan Kelly have all blasted past, and he's going to fall into the clutches of Charles Teed going down the Long Pond straightaway. So staying out, not the move for Hunter Smith. He's going to fall back to the 7th or 8th spot before all this is done. Forsythe and Wagner do battle for the lead. Chris Stouffer, well, he's off in the distance, some 1.4 seconds ahead of this trio.
Yeah, I thought first it does seem like Stouffer is going to be having a lot of eyes on the post-race inspection on that car because that thing is just so fast tonight. He's driving that car better than anybody else around here, and I really, really do think that this was a driver setup for this race more than just a tire situation. And Stouffer has managed to find some line and some way to save those tires and really just blast off with not a lot of competition at all, even with the spin.
He is, and here's the other thing. We ride on board with him. Here's the other thing. Wagner and Forsythe are swapping behind him, and that is IndyCar Speedway. We're going to work together. We're going to use the draft to slingshot ourselves forward. They're working together, and they can't catch him, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't think the swap draft is effective with the way that these cars are set up for this race. It doesn't seem like they're able to make up any ground, really. There's too much lifting probably that has to go on in certain corners, and you're better off just running by yourself and basically bubble pushing the car up ahead as we do in the IRO5 machines. The more in line you are with those cars. Oh,
Smith, hard contact, Hunter Smith. Charles Teed, we're going to get a yellow here.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
I watched that one happening a mile away, unfortunately, Murph. That was a lot of push that Charles Teed had there, and Hunter Smith just got completely squashed right into the barrier.
Yeah, here we go. They're working through We're going to follow this back through turn 2. They're working toward turn 3 here. The dive from Teed, and there's Smith on the outside. Teed gets a huge head of steam down there, but can't make it stick. And there's the contact. There's the wall. 2 cars don't fit there, Andrew, and, well, a tough, tough
Why
end.
don't we rewind that there, Murph? I actually am a little bit surprised. You could see that right in the middle of the corner, Hunter Smith does swing his car a little bit to the left. So he really just hung the outside as best he could, which is he has every right to do. Teed has not cleared him, but I don't think that the contact was made any better by the fact that he basically just was trying to challenge Teed into staying down there, and you just can't predict that from happening. Maybe a front view, you could see that there's a little bit of a wiggle to the left, like he's trying to box the corner or make a diamond out of it there. Yes, of course, Teed would have made the corner without Hunter Smith there, but Hunter Smith should have been able to hang on the outside, and just a little bit extra care should have been given there. You can see that little wiggle that Hunter Smith has right there. Maybe that's a bit of looseness, not really sure. But at that point, if Teed had a little bit closer eye on his right rear there, that could have been avoided. But I would call that one a little bit more of a racing incident than someone doing something heavily wrong there.
Oh, for sure. No intent. Nobody trying to do anything wrong. Two cars attempted to occupy a space meant for one, and you can't blame Teed for going for it. You can't blame Smith for racing for it. Smith still rolling in 6th spot. Now he's going to have to come in and get himself a fast repair. Charles Teed has towed. Everybody is going to make a pit stop here with some exceptions. I saw one car swerve back out. I saw 2 cars swerve back out. We're going to watch the race off of pit road, and then we'll update you on who's still circulating while we're here. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun here on P1. Also, note the link in the description as well as the link in the description, the QR code in the event poster. You can send a donation to a great family friend of the Brooks family. Support one of their friends battling the same cancer that claimed our good friend Jim Brooks. Ryan Kelly stayed out. Guile Brooks stayed out. Nicholas Stockner stayed out. So the front 3 still on the speedway as we get ready to have a shootout, and we're going to have about, my count, 9 laps to go when they take the green flag, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. This is what I was hoping for on the last caution, actually. Some drivers from the mid-pack that know that they have no shot at going for the win, doing something of the same from the previous 50 laps or so that had been run at the time. But it's happening now. Some drivers are rolling the dice, and everyone was good on fuel after that last pit stop. So track position is key around here. So we're going to see if the fresh tires really can make their move here. If it really is a tire wear situation that's preventing these drivers from swap drafting and making any inroads on the drivers ahead. So I'm very, very excited to see how this one pans out.
We are. Guile Brooks, of course, running his dad's livery here this evening. Look, if I was Guile, I would do that, right? We're going to get lap cars to the back here because it is less than 10 laps to go. The brief flight for Hunter Smith is only going to drop him back to the 8th spot. He was able to effect the fast repair. It's going to be interesting to see what transpires here.
I have no opinions really. We haven't seen the old versus new tire to this effect here. It really could go either way. I think it's quite possible that Ryan Kelly could hang on, and perhaps Kyle Brooks can challenge for the lead here. And wouldn't that be something if Kyle Brooks can pull a rabbit out of a hat like we were talking about the end of his Area 51 season? It looks like it's happening all over for him again.
Regardless of what happens for Gael, what a tremendous run. But there you see the number on the number of laps on the tires. It is not as if these guys have been out for a huge amount of time. 9 laps for Kelly, 7 for Gael, 5 for Nicholas Stockner. So it's not like they've got 100 laps on the tires, Andrew. They're going to get them cooled off. So they're going to have, they're going to have 3 or 4 where they feel pretty good, and then it's going to be up to Chris Stouffer to see if he can't slice his way back toward the front. Barney is going to throw, the pace car is going to pull off. Barney is going to throw the green flag back in the air, and we're going to get time to talk turkey and trophies here, Andrew, at the end of the Jim Brooks Memorial 250 at Pocono.
Nice clean start from everyone. The newer tires taking a little bit longer to get fired up there. Stouffer loses some ground to the top 3 there, but Stockner's bringing it 3 wide. I think he's going to have enough of an opportunity to clear him.
I do believe he's got him clear. Gael Brooks maintains second. Nicholas Stockner goes to the lead. Ryan Kelly got shuffled way out on that deal. He's already got Chris Stouffer underneath him. They race 2x2 through the tunnel turn. 9 laps to go at Pocono.
AJ Hobson, another big loser on that restart. He got completely swamped and
oh, boy. Here we go. Stouffer up the middle, 3 wide, Andrew.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly now is put himself in a really, really poor spot on the older tires, dropping spots like crazy. He's going to continue to lose them as it goes on.
They are. We're 3 wide now for the 3rd spot. That's Gael Brooks on the outside. Craig Forsyth in the middle. Matt Wagner on the bottom. Everybody makes it through. Craig Forsyth gets in the 3rd, and now it's Chris Stouffer on Nicholas Stockner for the lead.
It's getting spicy again, Murph, right? As we're getting to these last few laps here. Very, very close side-by-side action through the tunnel turn. Forsyth goes for it on the inside.
Craig Forsyth to the bottom. He'll try to power around. Nicholas Stockner can't get it done. It is Forsyth now second, then Chris Stouffer is third. Now, Stouffer goes to second. Hunter Smith has been shot out of a cannon. He's made it from 8th to 5th. He's looking all over the back of Matt Wagner. You've got A.J. Hobson in the discussion. And how about Jack Wells? The stock car ace has made it to the 7th spot.
The top 6 has started to pull away a bit, but you're right. Jack Wells is right there. And what a great day Jack Wells has had, as you were talking about previously. What a run. He's looking on the inside. AJ Hobson now going to be going more for it.
Joseph Morales takes a spin toward the inside. He is on the grass. He saves it. Andrew, he saved that car. Watch this. Joseph Morales had contact, and he saves the race car. You've got to see this. I know we're missing a battle between Stouffer, Stockner, Wagner, Forsyth, and Smith for the lead. Watch this. Watch this. He takes the hit square in the left rear, goes through the grass. He's going to get that car airborne through the grass again, and somehow Morales is going to get back on the track and save the automobile.
That was quite a nifty bit of driving there by Joseph Morales for sure. That's something. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Yeah.
All right, so Stouffer and Hunter Smith have now cleared Nicholas Stockner for the top 2 spots. Stockner now 3rd. He's going to face a challenge from Craig Forsyth. Forsyth is going to come through in turn 1. I believe he's going to have him clear. Craig needs to slide up. He does so. Wagner contact with Nicholas Stockner coming off at turn number 1. Wags trying to follow in the draft, but he can't quite get there. Tunnel turn. Here we come.
Gael Brooks almost had contact as well at a turn 1. It's getting very, very hectic here, and we're going to be 4 to go at the line.
We are. Hunter Smith looks to the outside of Chris Stouffer, but he's got Stouffer's teammate Craig Forsyth right behind him. Top 3, 4 laps to go, 10 miles. It's now a qualifying run in Indianapolis. Hunter Smith dives to the inside of Chris Stouffer.
Matt Wagner can't do anything about Stockner until just now. He finally gets by, but the top 3 have pulled away. Wagner's drifting up the track a little bit, saves it. Stockner's going to come back at him.
He's still in the draft window, and Matt Wagner whoever can claim that fourth spot. Eric Peterson shoots to the inside. Forsyth drops back. This is going to make it a straight fight with coming to get 3 to go between Smith and Stouffer. Whew. I don't know if I've got enough roll aids to last another 7.5 miles, Andrew. How about it? Chris Stouffer leads it across the line. Then it's Hunter Smith. Then Craig Forsyth. Eric Peterson fourth. A.J. Hobson's carved his way up to the 5th spot. Nicholas Stockner, he's fallen back to 7th, and the front is really strung out now.
Yeah, once those older tires reach dirty air, there's just absolutely no match for anyone with the newer tires up front. So it looks like that was the right call, was to come down pit lane and get those tires. But valiant effort for those 3 that stayed out there.
It really is. Hunter Smith draws a bead on Chris Stouffer, headed toward turn number 3. Smith is going to claim the bottom line, move Hunter Smith to the lead with 2 laps to go over Chris Stouffer. Stouffer is going to have the momentum on the high line. Is Smith going to block him? He will not. Hunter Smith does not lead that lap, Andrew. 2 laps to go. Stouffer drafts back by him going down the front.
So it looks like the inside line is definitely not as easy as you think to get that spot cleared. Matt Wagner is doing the high side on A.J. Hobson right now, is going to clear him. So maybe the high side is the way to go. And yeah, Forsyth is getting himself right back into it, getting himself wound up. And yeah, Stouffer is now feeling pressure for the first time in many, many laps here by Hunter Smith and likely Craig Forsyth as well. This is really quite the battle here as we come to the white flag.
It is. Smith makes the same move down the inside through turn 3. Now, he did not try to block the first time through. He stays to the inside this time. He does lead across the line from Stouffer. They'll drag race toward turn 1. It's Hunter Smith on the bottom. Now Craig Forsyth slices down. He'll take the lead over. No! The momentum on the top from Chris Stouffer is going to carry the day. Eric Peterson nicks the wall. It's still Stouffer, Smith, and Forsyth down the long pond straightaway, headed toward turn 2.
Yeah, I really do think the outside is going to be the way to do it here. If Stouffer gives him the outside, that's going to put him vulnerable. If Stouffer blocks low, then goes high. But Hunter Smith's going to hang the outside. Forsyth's going to get boxed in for sure.
Hunter Smith had a wing going into turn 3, but he's not able to keep it there. Chris Stouffer will come across the line. He will win the Jim Brooks Memorial 250. Hunter Smith is second, and Craig Forsyth comes home in third. Whew. That was a darn good simulated automobile race, Andrew Wood. Holy mackerel.
I think I need Rollies too. I'm going to go see if I have any in the medicine cabinet for both of us there, Murph. That was quite something, and that was all set up because of that strategy from those 3 drivers to stay out there.
It really was. It made it difficult on Stouffer. And how about Hunter Smith? He was airborne. Andrew, he was airborne. Under that last yellow, he gets his fast repair. Here's Chris Stouffer, and you think we're going to see some donuts here? There he goes. Now, does he have the right technique? Has he got the brake bias forward enough? He has nice tight donuts. I'm going to give that a 9.5 out of 10. You see how tight those are, Andrew? That's a man that knows how to do his donuts.
My goodness, you and your donuts, Murph. Always got to critique everything. Starting to get a little out of control, though, if I have to comment myself.
Well, the trick, if you want to say it, is you got to push the brake bias all the way forward. That gives you the nice tight Alex Zanardi circles. Chris Stouffer is going to burn him down until either he runs out of fuel or runs out of tires. But he's got a nice tight one going there, Andrew.
I prefer the Sebastian Bourdais croissants.
I do not do the donuts, and I tell you why. It destroys the motor. So when we went racing when we were kids, you only had one motor. Chris Stouffer parks it on the start finish line. You only had one motor, and if you broke it, you didn't get to go race next week. So even if you won, you didn't do stuff like that because, well, it means you couldn't race no more, Andrew.
Yeah, it's always better when you're burning up someone else's motor, right?
That's absolutely true. Chris Stouffer is your winner from Hunter Smith and Craig Forsyth. What a battle to the finish that was. In the 4th spot, Eric Peterson, then A.J. Hobson comes home in 5th. Matt Wagner, Nicholas Stockner, Jack Walls, Gael Brooks, and Gary Lovern make up your top 10. In 11th, Larry Yingling. Ryan Kelly is 12th. Gabe Butler 13th. James Ledford 14th. How about Joseph Morales? He makes the save, Andrew. He comes home. Last car on the lead lap in 15th, and that's a really good run for Joseph. Iker Figueroa, Hayden Davis, Will Stearns, Koabi Brooks, and Bud Steele round out your top 20 and 21st. It's Charles Teed, then Jim Herrick, Dean Wilkinson, Justin Davis, Charles Johnson, Brandon Briggs, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Irwin Jr., Jason Guralnick, and Tom Dixon, the remainder of your field. 30 cars entered, 29 took the start. Chris Stouffer is your winner. And we've got to go a ways back to get replays here. So I appreciate everybody's patience. There's Craig Forsyth. There we go. Give Craig a minute to catch his breath. That was a wild finish, Andrew.
Yeah, these cars always put on quite a show, Murph. They definitely they showcase the speed, they showcase the talent, and they showcase the drivers. And that's all three things that we saw in this race tonight.
You know, it most certainly was. Let's go ahead and grab Craig Forsyth, bring him in. Craig, you've got Murph, you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
You betcha, guys.
Woo! I'll tell you what, are you as out of breath as we are?
That is the right response to that race. That race had everything. At one point it was like, okay, we're gonna go caution free. Do we need to fuel save this thing? Then we had the cautions. Then it was neck and neck battle pack racing. I think Jim definitely enjoyed what he saw tonight. That's for sure. I hope he was pleased.
We had to send Andrew Wood off to the medicine cabinet for more roll aids. I don't see how you guys didn't wad those cars up, but you made it. Andrew, I'll let you ask Craig the intelligent questions while I catch my breath.
Yeah, Craig, I'm curious to hear more about that incident that you had on that restart. I heard you call out that you had some damage there. Did you actually feel something in the car, or was it just perhaps a knee-jerk reaction to some contact there?
No, there was the checkup. I got hit from behind, and iRacing, the spotter immediately said, you've got damage in the back. So I was going into that whole corner just warning, because I wasn't sure if that meant I had no rear wing or not. So I went into that corner not sure what was going to happen, and I don't know what kind of damage iRacing thought I had, but the car was fine. So
it almost seemed like you continued just fine, and almost like it made your car better in a sense.
At that point, I was really worried that iRacing was going to hold me for 15 seconds to replace the rear wing when I did pit. So I burned my fast repair just to make absolutely sure. Because you never know, like it might just decide, no, it's enough damage. And, meanwhile, the car has been driving fine and you never would have changed it in a normal race. But you can't control those things when iRacing decides it's going to change it. So going down 15 seconds would have been the absolute end of the race. So we burned the fast repair on that green flag pit just to make sure. But yeah, I didn't help myself at all earlier in the race, overshooting my pit. And then didn't notice I'd overshot my pit and was wondering why my car didn't go up. So that cost me the front pack in that first cycle. But I guess in the end, we got lucky. We had the caution that bunched everyone back up, got us back up to the front. And my goodness, I mean, the guys put on a great show tonight. I definitely enjoyed battling everyone. And it was good seeing all of Area 51 come out, drivers from all the various leagues. And I had a great time and look forward to the truck race on the 12th.
Whew, pour yourself a bourbon, Craig Forsyth. That was
That is
wild.
on the menu.
One, we'll give you one of the big ice cubes, brother. Before you do that, shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. You got the floor.
Jim over at 40 Racewear for sponsoring the car, the team, the league sponsor. He will be league sponsor again for the IndyCar Series for Area 51 when we start back up on the 14th of July. Gael and Kwabi, I mean, they've been great through all this as we set this all up, and all in memory of Jim. And I hope people enjoyed the program, the show we put on tonight. And if you really enjoyed it, please. If you have the funds and you're available, please consider donating to the GoFundMe to help Jim's friend in his battle with cancer.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said that better, Craig. Thank you so much for stopping by. We will we'll put you back in with the guys. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Have a good night, guys. Stay safe.
100%. That is Craig Forsyth. He runs in the second spot. One of my former teammates and a guy that I absolutely adore talking to runs second today. Hunter, you tried to do your best Murph impression. You got the car airborne. Thankfully, you got a fast repair. What was that ending like battling with Stouffer there?
To describe it, it was just praying and hoping it would stick with him. Dude, Stouffer is such a hard driver to race against.
Yes,
and,
he is.
He threw so many good fakes on me on the front stretch, and I had no business. As soon as I got around him, I had no chance to even throw a fade at him or do anything about it. He was immediately there to come back at me. So my only chance was I tried to back out of turn two coming that last lap and just hope and pray he sends it down low or kept it up a little higher, and that way I can get a run and maybe get him at the line. But he defended so well. There's nothing I could do, to be completely honest. Stouffer had a heck of a win there. And yeah, no, I'm glad to do my best impression for you.
I tell you what, we've got Andrew back from the Rolaids cabinet, so he'll have the next question. But heck of a run, Hunter. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, Hunter, nice job on the P2 there, and obviously the P1 broadcasting car. We had to shout that out. Obviously, that saved you from any lingering damage that you likely had from your incident there. But yeah, I'm kind of curious your opinion on how the setup felt tonight. We saw a lot of coming and going. Typically with the DW12s here, if once one driver gets a little bit too far of a gap out, it's very, very hard to get that back, right? You have these drafting tracks where you can't really get that extra advantage there. But it seemed like someone got out front and then very easily you could drive right back up to them again. So I'm curious if the tires were kind of a big thing in this race, or was it simply just drive a little bit better, and if you can run some better laps consecutively, you can catch back up to the cars ahead?
I mean, to be honest, not big of a setup guy. It's good to see you again, Andrew, since month of May, but it really came down to clean air. And then the weird thing about it too, though, is if you ran that high line, I feel like the right side tire cooked a little bit too much. But then if you rode the low line, you have no momentum coming out of the turn. So you basically pick your poison. And I, most of the time, pick to just heat up that right tire. At least that's how it felt. And then I at least had a pretty good run off the turns. By the end of it, though, my tires are pretty cooked. That second stint when I decided to go airborne, I could hardly even maintain it, to be completely honest. And I honestly should have gave that spot instead of trying to keep it in that gap towards the end. But I like the setup. This DW12 has treated me really well. I haven't driven it in a while, and so far, big fan, because there's no tools. It's just you, a gas pedal, maybe a brake. You're not supposed to really use it here, but I like how it just comes down to simple inputs, and you're not sitting there dealing with the weight jacker and going -20, +20, and doing all these things on the straightaway. So I like driving this DW12 personally. I enjoyed the setup a lot tonight because it's nice seeing the leader be able to jump out a little bit. To be completely honest, they can separate themselves and not be stuck just simply in the leading a draft train.
It almost kind of sounds like you're picking up a Game Boy for the first time in 15 years or something like that. It's like, wow, this actually is kind of fun. And then you find yourself wanting to play with it more and drive it more in terms of DW12. It's almost like you kind of forgot what it was like to drive a vehicle like that.
Oh, 100%. I think it was a couple weeks ago. I saw Dark Horse had a race, and I've been really looking to expand my horizons and run more races outside of just simply elite and the couple strength of field races, because this community is awesome. I can tell that everyone that Jim Brooks is around and what this league has created is awesome, and I've been trying my best to get out there. So yeah, I put this little paint scheme together. It's horror. It's not too great, but it does the job. But yeah, that's exactly how it feels. This is like a whole new toy for me, and it's a toy that I'm finding that I'm pretty good at. So it's a good feeling.
Everything that's old is new again, right? And you definitely catch the camera with that thing, Hunter. It's not quite. You need sunglasses to look at it, but it's definitely eye popping. With that said, you get on the podium here at P1, you get the mic, friends, family, sponsors. Shout them out, my man. You've earned it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Mark, and I appreciate you, Andrew, and appreciate P1 and what Gary Gotso does. You guys are a phenomenal group. You guys do a good job and keep this community together. And now my dad is out there watching tonight, so I appreciate him tuning in. And yeah, Mark, I'm gonna have to buy you a beer here soon, man.
Man, I don't know after the last between Indianapolis and the 4th of July, I don't know if I can handle anymore, my man. It's I might have to dry out.
I feel that.
I'm getting old, but I appreciate you, man. It's always good to see you when I come through town. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
You bet. And yeah, appreciate everything. And rest in peace to Jim Brooks.
Absolutely. That is Hunter Smith. He is the winner tonight for the man of the hour. We go to a man driving matte black and purple chrome. That's quite an eye-catching machine you got there, Stover. I told you I wasn't going to show you on TV earlier. You and I traded colorful insults, and then you go out and win the race. Talk to us about your run and what makes you so good at Pocono.
I can't tell you exactly why I'm so good at Pocono. It just, sometimes you just have a track that agrees with you, and this happens to be one. And then we're running the older car here. We're running the old scan of the track, and so, it's just all good things there, and so it all came together.
I'm kind of curious. I'm going to ask you a silly question, Stouffer. Did you pass post-race inspection with all that speed that you had in that race?
To be determined.
So I'm going to ask you another unserious question, and it's one that Caleb Brashear has brought to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. We have not yet had a chance for Chris Stouffer to weigh in. Of course, you're going to be at the Sim Gaming Expo this year, and so you're going to be at the annual P1 gathering on Friday night, and so we've got to know, what is Chris Stouffer's favorite flavor of chicken wing?
Oh, dang. Where are we going? I mean, is this just like
Just
DW3, or is this just like in general?
wherever Murphy can order 400 or 500 hot wings without breaking his bank account. How about we start there?
Oh, well, if it was B-dubs, I like Caribbean jerk, but if we're just going, traditional flavors, I would just say buffalo.
There you go. Andrew, do you have anything to add for tonight's winner, or are we going to let him go finally celebrate?
I think we should let the guy celebrate, and we will compliment you on the tightness of your donuts there. I know Murph is very much in tune with the style of donuts there, so I think that he probably would have been a little bit meaner to you if they didn't really come out so well.
Well, I do want to say shout out, everybody putting this on, remembering Jim and all that. He was a great guy out there, always good to race with, and condolences to the family. Thank you guys, of course, here in the booth for broadcasting it, and it was we got that yellow at the end. It's something I didn't want to see, of course, but we raced it out and made it real exciting.
You made it exciting indeed, my man. What a heck of a run. Thank you so much for stopping by, Chris. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's Chris Stouffer. He is tonight's winner. And well, I tell you what, Andrew, I don't know if we could have seen two better races to start off honoring Jim Brooks than the one we had tonight. Holy smokes!
Yeah, I was very excited for this one in particular, just because I love how the DW12 races. It kind of takes a little bit more of the predictability out of watching IR18 drivers or IR18 cars and puts them more into the driver's hands, like I was mentioning before. But yeah, Gary and I have a great time calling the Dark Horse Series itself for that exact reason, right? And you're a driver in there, and I always have a hard time predicting and making predictions of who's going to come out on top, and especially at an old track like Pocono, this was the perfect racetrack to showcase just what these cars can do.
You know, it really is. I kind of mentioned at the top of the show, these cars cannot go to the new Pocono, and the new cars do not really race very well at the old Pocono, and so but you do get really good racing when either car visits either, and tonight was no exception. If you want to see more good racing, tune it in tomorrow here on P1 Broadcasting. It's the 2026 IndyCar iRacing Series presented by 40 Raceware. We're going to do Strength of Field for that on Wednesday night because, well, Andrew, I don't think anybody's going to be available Saturday. I think most of us are going to be celebrating the 4th of July this weekend. On Thursday, it is the 2026 Elite Racing League Indy Lights Series races 7 and 8. Those are going to go off at 7:45, and they'll be immediately followed by the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series at 8:20. No races Friday, no race Saturday, no race Sunday. Happy birthday to Uncle Sam. We come right back with a doubleheader Monday. It's the IndyCar Open Series Monday night top split, and it is going to be a dandy, Andrew. They're going to be live from Auto Club Speedway, and they'll be immediately followed by the Indy Next Road Series top split at 10 o'clock. From everybody at P1, we want to thank all of the drivers in the field, the stock car guys, the IndyCar guys, the members of the Area 51 community that came out to honor one of our dear friends tonight. Thank you all so much. We want to thank the fans in the stands because we had another really good crowd here for Area 51. Remember, if you want to continue to honor Jim Brooks' legacy, you can help one of his friends fight the cancer that claimed Jim. There's a link in the broadcast description. There's a link in the chat. You can scan the QR code in the event poster on your screen, and we appreciate you very much if you do. But we also want to thank the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Andrew, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. We love you, Jim, and we will see you all tomorrow for IIS at Mid-Ohio.
Strap in. Feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hair pulled low, I'm blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning. Grit in my voice, baseline under my breath, glove print stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says get it. From the couch to the